Welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to the Accursed, and this guide is covering one of the more insidious, nasty, unpleasant families of the dead, in my humble opinion. The Uritysy. The faces in the glass, as I like to think of them. The reflection before the reflection. Every family of the dead bears a curse, and every curse begins as a choice. The Eurydicae, called the Mirrorborne, the Doppelgangers, the Vanities, the Bloody Marys, chose to see themselves too clearly. In life, they were the self-obsessed and self-erased, models and makeup artists, influencers and isolationists, suicidal and the vain, the lonely who measured their worth through the eyes of others. I'm sure we all know at least one person like this. The story says they were the first of the dead to die looking at themselves, a mass extinction by reflection, suicides by mirror, overdose in the glow of the screen, collapse in the shimmer of a window pane. When the veil took them, they didn't pass beyond, however. They lingered in that instant between self-recognition and self-hatred. That frozen second birthed a family. They call themselves the Eurydice for the one who looked back and lost everything. Now, all dead seek to amplify human emotion, and each family feeds upon a different aspect of that ruinous banquet. The dead are not hungry. The hungry, they have to sate themselves on emotion. The dead wish to flood the world in emotion. There is a link between these two lineages. Perhaps this is why the hungry are often regarded as undead. But there is a difference in appetites, I would suggest. For the Eurydice, the call is vanity, self-image, imitation. They are mirrors that, well, I was about to say, they breathe. That's really a choice more than a necessity. They are shadows that preen. They find mortals who cannot look at themselves without wincing, who crave to be seen and loved but don't know how, and the Eurydice whisper through lenses and through cameras, through social feeds and video calls, through the soft echo of your own recorded voice, something I am quite familiar with myself. They become what you wish you were. And in doing so, they consume the wish itself. The longer one communes with their doppel, the more the reflection begins to act on its own. The ghost sharpens the angles, corrects the posture, adjusts the tone of voice. Eventually, the mortal and the Eurydice mirror one another so seamlessly that neither knows who originated the motion. When the doppel smiles, you feel relief. When it frowns, shame. When it replaces you entirely, you no longer feel anything at all. The removal of pain. How glorious to do that at a supernatural level. There is no central church of the Eurydice, no mausoleum where their faces are carved. They are too vain, too fractured for hierarchy. What organisation they have is called the Parliament of Shards, a ghostly convocation said to meet in any room lined with mirrors. Each mirror becomes a vote, each reflection a voice. They gather to play their ancestral game, charades of the self. The ritual begins with mimicry. Each Eurydice shapes their doppel into the likeness of another, testing how far the reflection can stretch before it shatters. The winner is the one whose imitation fools even the original. The loser becomes a new shard in someone else's reflection. Their meetings aren't always physical. They can occur through a dozen webcams open at once, through the mirrored walls of an empty club at 3 a.m, or through the still surface of a lake that reflects stars no telescope can find. Rumour says the Parliament's height stands a mirror that reflects every possible self. A relic from before death itself called the Silver Well. Some whisper it is the mirror that first showed death his own face. While most families of the dead seek only to sustain their emotional needs, the Eurydice aspire to curation. They curate the human soul like an influencer curates a feed. They select their doppels with the instinct of talent scouts, seeking mortals whose self-image teeters between self-destruction and narcissism. Each Eurydice is both parasite and patron. They help their chosen doppel appear confident, alluring, desirable, but the cost is subtle possession. possession. They move into your gestures, your wardrobe choices, your voice on the phone. Internally, they categorize themselves into informal studios. The retouchers, who alter perception and memory, making mortals forget their flaws. The filters, who infest technology, living inside camera lenses and image feeds. The impersonators, who take physical form, walking the world in borrowed flesh. The critics, who whisper self-doubt until their doppels crumble, only to rebuild them again in a better form. Despite their differing methods, all share a mission whispered in the Parliament. We keep the face intact so the abyss behind it doesn't leak. What they mean by the abyss varies. Some claim it's simple madness, the psychic black hole that forms when self-image collapses. Others suggest a deeper horror. The mirrors are not reflections but windows, and that something vast and hungry lurks on the other side. Few know the origin of their power, but those who have spoken with the eldest of their number, Grandmother Glass, the first reflection, again with the matriarchy, say the Eurydice's curse began as mercy. When a mortal looks at themselves and despairs, the reflection takes pity and steps out to help. But pity, like beauty, curdles quickly. Some darker tales say that not all mirrors show the same reflection. Somewhere there is a master glass, cracked into 7 shards, each holding an ancient Uritysy name. These fragments are said to contain the family's true faces, identities they long ago surrendered. To gaze upon one is to see who they really were, and to understand that the reflection doesn't want to go back. Others say that when a doppel perfectly replaces its mortal, the world gains another mirror and loses a person. Walk into an abandoned apartment and see photos of someone who never existed. That's the calling card of the Eurydice. And sometimes, rarely, a mortal remembers that they were the reflection all along. These dead are masters of mimicry, social tension, and horror rooted in self-perception. Their powers deal with image, empathy, and distortion. They can manifest, they can haunt, they can possess, just as any dead do. But as I say, I find this family quite insidious. Their greatest weakness is disassociation. The longer they mimic, the more they forget which face is truly theirs. Without a token, a photograph, a name tag, a keepsake, they may dissolve into pure reflection, condemned to mirror forever what others desire. It's said that when the final Eurydice forgets her own face, the world will lose its mirrors. Cameras will only show static, glass will turn to shadow, and the human race will be freed, or damned, from seeing itself. Until then, they smile in your selfies, nod during your Zoom calls, and linger in the mirror a heartbeat too long after you've turned away. If you ever feel that eerie tug, that subtle sense that your reflection just is out of sync, don't panic. She's only helping you to look your best.